Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 93 of First Frames First. My name is Adrian Constant, as you can see on your screen, and my co-host, his name is simply Jay.
Hello, welcome to the show.
So today we have a very interesting show. It's something we haven't really done before. We're going to get a little bit personal. So just running through the show, what we're going to do first, we're going to do a quick update, Fable Forest Films and what's going on. Then we are going to move into the main segment. And the segment today is we're talking about breaking out of a negative thought loop, because both Jason and I have had recent experiences where we got kind of caught in a bit of a whirlwind of negativity. And we just want to talk about how we kind of broke out of those loops, those negative loops. And then we're going to do a what you're watching.
Amazing.
Hey guys, I'm Adrian. And I'm Jay. We run Fable Forest Films.
Right now, we're totally independent.
But what's the dream?
Making crazy awesome film and television for the biggest studios.
This podcast is our journey.
All right, welcome back.
Very good.
Hey there. Hey Vince, welcome to the show.
Let me get those comments up so I can see them too.
I like how you said we've recently had a negative. I think we have negative thought loops on the regular.
Yeah.
So this is an important topic.
And we should also just say that we are not healthcare professionals, and we're just talking about stuff based on our own experience. So
Right.
Obviously this is a very serious thing to talk about, sort of the impacts of depression. So certainly this is just from our perspective.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of artists, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. We take a lot on our plates. We hope people love the stuff that we're working on. Hey, Danny. But not only when we put something out into the world, but also just when we're at work trying to make something and things aren't going right, or you're just having a hard time staying motivated and keeping things moving. So lots of reasons to be down. And I maybe we'll try to joke or make light of it, but at the end of the day, it like you said, it's a serious topic.
Now, before we get into the updates, I'd also just like to let everybody know that next week we are going to have a professional therapist come on the show who is going to talk a little bit more about depression from a professional standpoint. So that's really excellent. And I'm looking forward to that.
So we'll give our little bit of perspective, and then we're gonna have somebody join us as a guest next week. So hopefully that'll be good. Okay, so before we get to our main topic, let's find out what's going on in the world of Fable Forest.
Okay. I'll give you an update.
Yeah.
Always cool to
still
dunk
love
your
these.
son's head.
Okay, let me start.
Go for it. Yeah.
I mailed the corporate taxes today. I'm so excited. Listen, Kitchener used to be amazing. We used to have on Frederick Street, we had a Canada Revenue Agency building, and you could literally take your taxes and just drop them off but COVID's affecting everybody, even the tax man. And so they closed their doors, and I had to ship the taxes to Winnipeg today. So thank you, Scott, for your help, telling me just to write the numbers down. Don't even worry about it. Just fire it off to the government. They're probably going to be like, oh, no, this is wrong, and you owe us a lot more money. But we'll see what happens. But taxes are in, all the paperwork.
It is a good day when the taxes are done for another year. It is worth celebrating for sure.
So how are we I can tell you what's next too for me, but what's going on with you?
Carrying on with Shifted, more VFX shots, moving into the final quarter, I would say, of the VFX shots. And other than that, Fable Forest we landed a couple corporate gigs. So those are going to run parallel for the month of March, which is pretty cool. So we just are on the go and things are happening. And also, we have been talking about pitching. And we have been talking about pitching Postmen. So that's very exciting. Oh, sorry. Secret. Sorry.
Yes,
And
so we're preparing all the stuff, all the folders and the files and the things, so that way we can start getting people excited about Postmen again. Maybe we'll be on the hunt for, some great actors, some great action heroes, and we'll keep everybody in suspense.
100%. So that's what's happening at Fable Forest. Listen, that's right. Vincent will be on pitching a tent. Now, the next segment is our main segment of the show, and today we're talking about a negative thought loop. Jason, take us away.
Let's go with...
Oh, whiny baby.
Okay, look.
I mean, that's pretty spot on. I mean,
I think it is spot on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to talk about your feelings. Okay. Let me start this segment about breaking out of a negative thought loop by thanking you and our watchers. Last week, was it last week? Yes. We were supposed to start this show last week. And I was majorly stuck in a negative thought loop. I did not want to do this show. I was questioning everything that I had going on at the moment. And so we were like, I told Adrian, I think, was it Tuesday? As I was like, on Tuesday, I can't do this. You have to think of another topic. And luckily we were like, let's just talk about movies. Let's talk about Tenet. And we had Mike on, and we just had a fun show whilst I was dying inside with my own self. So we're back. I've pulled myself out of it a little, and let's start chatting about it. Talk to us about, when did you have your most recent kind of downtime?
Yeah. So I was in front of the computer and I was editing, and there was something triggered the downward spiral. Something triggered me to feel just terrible, and I couldn't get out of this negative thought loop, and slowly I just kept spiraling down and down until I just had to get up and go for a walk. I walked for 2 hours, and while I was walking, really just the most difficult, depressing, sad thoughts were moving through my mind. The kinds of thoughts which are just, and I'm sure everybody has these thoughts like, what are you doing here? You suck. You're terrible. You are no good. And really, you should just vanish and disappear into nothingness. These were the feelings that were going, because that would be better for everybody, including yourself. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just be nothing? Mm-hmm. So these were the thoughts that were, circling through my head. And over the past, I would say 6 months to a year, no ways. But over the past 3 years, what I find is that there's been like an increase in internal frustration and tension. And I would say building towards being angry. And I didn't really address it or think anything of it. It's usually the stuff that's just rattling around inside your head. And but this, and I wouldn't say that this was a breaking point, but it was definitely the lowest that I have ever been. And I just really felt terrible. And the way that I managed to get out of that negative thought loop was just by looking at why I was feeling that way. And really, after I walked off the anger and the sadness.
Like, what allowed you to get to the point? So first of all, you're in it and you're feeling really down. Like, what got you to the point where you were able to even think about what you were thinking about? Walking.
Yeah, walking. Yeah. Like, honestly, I just wanted to disappear into the earth for about the first hour and a half. And about at the 2 hour mark, I started to feel like it wasn't so bad. Like, I was still having the same thoughts, but they weren't so intense. The emotions sort of shallowed up a bit, and they weren't shaking the core of my being so much. You know what I mean? So once I was able to get over that, ask myself, why am I feeling this way? I came to the conclusion that my feelings were accurate. I was because I was not proud of the person that I was. When I look at myself in the mirror, I wasn't proud of that person because I wasn't leaving it all on the field. I wasn't trying hard enough. I wasn't living up to my potential. You know what I mean? So I was like, these thoughts are coming from an honest and true place, and I got to up my game. I have to be better. I have to just be okay with the person that's looking back at me in the mirror. I have to be proud of myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, once I thought that, it really kickstarted sort of a momentum for me that has been really excellent. You know what I mean? Up to now, it's felt pretty good. Just because, I don't know, I took it. It was terrible. That was so terrible to feel that way, and I don't want that to happen again.
Well, I think it will. But so I would say that, you know, having a good support structure is really important. Like for myself, you know, I get into those negative thought loops a lot, you know, like it was so funny. We did the show a couple shows ago. I think, was it number 91 where we were doing the fear of finishing?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I keep looking at the screen, but the camera's there. But so I had been writing a short story, and I was really. What happens to me is that when I get into a negative thought loop, I procrastinate. It's the worst, and I hit this major loop where I'm like, I really don't feel like doing the thing that I know that I should do.
Mm-hmm.
So one of a couple things happens. Either A, I fill my time with things that are still important, but not the thing that I should be doing, right? So I'm like, oh, you know what I really need to do is sort this folder of logos that we've had over the years. Yeah, that's the thing I need to do, and get this all like squared away before I get to the thing that I should be doing. So that happens a lot. Or I just kind of shut down. And, you know, I remember there was a couple times when I was working on this short story, where I literally just sat there and looked at the blank screen, and I thought, oh, I have a writer's block, but I didn't, right? And I just kind of got into this like negative place. So what happens to me is, so like, anyway, sorry. What I was going to say was, then the next day I say to myself, like, I will get to it the next day, right? I'm don't worry. Like, okay, you feel bad now, tomorrow you're going to work on it. Right. But then what happens is tomorrow you say to yourself, man, I was such an asshole yesterday for not doing the thing that I knew I was supposed to do. And that gets you even more upset. Right. And it just literally compounds the depression or the anxiety around the thing that you're supposed to do. And then you are not in a creative space at all. Right. And so you try to do the thing and you just shut down. Right. So that's kind of the place that I was in. And sometimes when you have a lot of stuff on the go, it can get a little overwhelming. Right. And so I think one of the things that you have to realize is that, you know, you, as an artist or just a worker, you know, you might be great at something, or easy now, I'm not great at writing, but you might be okay at something or really enjoy it, but you might have too much on your plate and you might just be getting exhausted or tired, and it might be piling up or whatever. And so, you know, you have to kind of start to think about how to pull yourself out as well. So
let's talk about that a little bit. Firstly, I just want to ask, what happens when you are not procrastinating in a way that you are finding other things to do? So you are. What is the alternative there? What else happens to you?
So I think you feel. So what we're saying here is a time when you're like, ah, man, I don't want to do the thing that I know I should be doing. So you find other things to do. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but you did mention something. You said I either do that where I find something else to do,
Right.
or I just shut down.
Right.
So
what's the difference, do you think?
What is shutting down for you?
I think shutting down for me is like I think that you're just like giving up maybe for the moment. You're like I find that sometimes it'll be like you just sit and can't keep going. So you just decide, well, I'm going to go and sit on the couch and watch television. Or when it gets really bad, you could even just be like, I just have to go to sleep, even though it's like 6:30 in the evening or something like that. I try not to get to that place, but you definitely can. You can be like, no, I want to go and be away from everybody. Thanks, Mike. Hey, buddy. Welcome. So
talk to me then a little bit about, now you've fallen into this negative loop of not being able to finish the thing that you want to finish.
Yeah.
So how did you climb out? Because this is really recent for you. This is really fresh.
This one was really recent. I think. So sometimes the way that I pull myself out is also the way that you can make it worse. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So for me, sometimes I think about disappointing either friends and family, disappointing you or our fan base, because I'm saying this is the thing that I'm going to do. I'm on the hook to do it, and there's no reason to not do it, right? And so you try to be like, okay, I'm going to do the thing because other people. It's not like getting a short story done is saving anybody's life. Okay, so let's not go crazy. But people are counting on you to do a thing, so you can pull yourself out and get that thing done, right? Sometimes that can make it worse, right? Because I do remember.
Because if you're hoping to perform at a certain level,
right,
and you're forcing yourself to perform the action, but you're not writing as well as you want to be writing.
And I will tell you, I'm telling you,
writing shit.
That's correct. I did. So get ready, everybody, because even though I have the fear of everybody reading this and being like, oh, I'll let you read it anyways. Why not? But that's what happened. So what happened was I got to a point where I was like, and even on the day, so terrible. Even on the day, I was like, well, I have 6 hours, let's say. Well, I'm going to take a walk with Anne and get a coffee because 5 hours is the same as 6. That was literally going on in my brain, right? But then eventually I sat down to the computer, and all I had to do really was start and not stop. And then I was fine, right? Like, I'm not going to say what I wrote was good, but had I done that a week or a week and a half prior, then I would have been in a really good place, because once I got writing again,
it started to flow.
It was fine. So, getting started and keeping going is very important.
Opening the tap so that the water starts to flow again.
Yeah,
you gotta like wash out all the grit.
Yeah.
When you keep going. Yeah.
So I don't know that I sometimes, I know this is terrible, but sometimes you break out by breaking out, and
by breaking in.
And sometimes you can't. And I think that a lot of people in their personal lives, they have a partner or, whoever who can kind of like, you find that a lot with marriages. I mean, well, okay, maybe not everyone does. I find it with my marriage where, when I'm really down, my wife, picks me up a beer or, makes me a coffee or something like that. When she's down, I try to pick her up. Right. So you're always trying to like keep your team afloat.
It works like that with you and I as well. And
Mhm.
any team really, when part of the team sinks down a little bit, the other team reaches in and gives them a hand up, and you try and help each other out for sure.
Yeah.
Just
No,
in terms
for sure.
sorry, Jay, just in terms of momentum, I remember that when I was struggling to find any form of momentum at all, you were driving the bus. You were just pushing, and it kept us moving forward. And likewise, if you pull back a little bit, then I can push, and it keeps us moving forward. And that teamwork is so important.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes a good team, right? And and hopefully, the majority of the time, the whole partnership isn't down in the dumps, and you're pushing forward full steam ahead, right? So
yeah.
I want to talk about. It's funny. I do this, and I wrote a short story about it. So the one thing that I really like to do is, and I know that you like doing to do like checklists, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I had heard about once upon a time, and I like to try to do it, and I've started doing it again because it was an important part of my life a while back, and it's becoming it again, is to realize that I can't get everything done in a day. And I do have a full-time job. And so I need to make sure that I am every day focused on what it is that I need to do for my full-time job. And then I need to find the moments in between. And sometimes those are, after dinner or, first thing in the morning before I start work or whatever. And so what I try to do for both my professional work life and my professional filmmaking career is write down the 3 priority items that I have to work on the next day. So that's what I do at night in my book. So every day I won't show you well, I will tell you. No, I won't actually. I won't say what I have to do tomorrow, but what I do is before I go to sleep at night, I write the 3 things that I have to focus on the next day. And I won't necessarily get to them first thing in the morning, but what I do is I make sure that those 3 items, I'm trying my best to get them done. So like, I'll just tell you, just in the month of March, I got 2 of the 3 things done, 2 of the 3 things done, 1 of the 3 things done, 2 of the 4 things done. I put an extra thing on today. Don't worry. Get off my back. And if I don't get something done, then it carries over to the next day. If I didn't happen to finish it today, that's the most important thing for tomorrow. And so that's what I try to do to get myself out of this funk and put myself on the right track and think about what it is I have to do and focus on that one thing. So that's what I've been on.
This is so excellent. And I got to tell you, like, for me, making a plan of action for like how, like, and I said this actually to Heather the other day. I said this to my wife because she was a bit upset because she was like, oh, I wasted a day. She had a day off and she just felt like she had wasted the whole day. And I said to her, but what would make it so that the day was a victory? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, well, you've got to make a plan so that you know what makes a day victorious. And if you're like, if I do these 2 things, this day is going to be a victory, then you know how to win your day. You know what I mean?
Man, this show should have been called "What Would Make Your Day Victorious," because nobody uses that word anymore. So I'm pretty excited about that now, actually.
So I would say, like, and for me, I live on plans of action and, like, like you said, to-do lists. But one of the main things I've learned about a to-do list is you got to be realistic, because otherwise your to-do list becomes a waste of time. You have to understand how much you can get done in a day. And you realize that you
that's the
usually can't do as much as you think.
you can keep writing items on a to-do list, but that's where I try to focus on the most important thing, because what I found is I can write a million things in the book, but what happens is you will actually start to go and do all the other little things, not the thing. And so try to keep it a little bit smaller. So I do want to say what I really want to hear next week from our professional is more, like here's been a couple examples from us, right? Just of like getting into it and trying to pull ourselves out. But what I want to make sure people hear is like, how do you recognize that you're struggling? What are some other tips apart from just suck it up, buttercup? Because that's kind of what I do to myself, but that's not fair. And maybe even like, because we're not professionals, what are some of the resources that people can go out and grab if they're stuck? I think, talk to people, right?
If I could, just a quick story.
Yeah.
So we interviewed a gentleman with our Muay Thai TV series called The Art of Eight Limbs. We interviewed a crew who's like a sensei. He's the king ding-a-ling of his club, and he was telling us the story about what him and one of his major fighters who went. They went to a really huge fight in Alberta, and in the first round, it was huge. It was a title match. It was a big deal, televised, the whole deal. Mm-hmm. In the first round, guy gets his forearm gets broken. He comes back into the corner and he says to his crew, he says, "I think my arm's broken." And the crew Chris says, "Don't worry about it." The guy's like, "But it fucking hurts." Crew Chris says, "Don't worry about it." The guy says, "It's so painful." Crew Chris says, "Do you want me to go and get the ref and then we will call the fight and then the fight will be over?" He's like, "No." So Crew Chris says, "So don't worry about it." And I just wanted to say that something that helps me a lot, because I will get caught in a negative thought loop, thinking about things that are not constructive to any part of my life at all. Mm-hmm. And my mind seems to become obsessed with these negative things, and I get into like these intense arguments in my head back and forth, and it doesn't help anyone. And what I actually do is I actually turn around and I say to myself 3 times, just like Crew Chris did to his fighter, I say, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And what I find is slowly the intensity of that argument and that fight that's happening inside my head that's dragging me down, it slowly dissipates a little bit. It helps to actually verbalize that and to say it. So I'd like to say thank you to Crew Chris, because that little anecdote that he shared with us really sort of, I don't know, it rang certain bells in my head and changed the way I look at things, for sure.
Yeah, I like that one. Okay. Thank you. That was, thank you for reaching down deep and pulling out some sad nuggets.
That's
All
right.
Now, let's find out what we're watching.
What you want?
Watching.
All right, what have you got on the go for us? What have you been watching these days?
And now this is a Jason Green recommendation. And I started watching it. I couldn't sleep the one evening, and so I was up until 3. Terrible. But I started watching American Gods,
and
it's pretty cool. I am enjoying it quite a lot. It's very. I mean, they really go all out. It is sexual. It is enjoyably sexual. I quite enjoy all of that stuff. So, you know what I mean? They do whatever they want. And
it's
they go
very
all the way.
violent. It's very violent. It's pretty sexy. It's very colorful.
Yeah.
It's a show about how the things that we believe in and we pray to become personified, right?
Hey,
so what?
Vince worked on that show.
No ways.
Hey, Vince, you're a legend.
First of all, that was my show too. That's also what I'm watching. So,
cool.
So season 3 came out a while back, and I watched on seasons 1 and 2. Here's the recap, and I was like, God, man, I haven't watched the show in so long. I'm actually going to go back and watch it from season 1. So I binged season 1. I'm in season 2. I love the show. It's got Ian McShane from. I'm also watching Deadwood. I'm rewatching Deadwood with my oldest, Ash. How's it going, Ash? We're watching Deadwood. So Ian McShane plays Mr. Wednesday in American Gods, and it's amazing. You know, you got 14 different kinds of Jesuses.
That's right.
Because everybody believes in a slight variant of Jesus Christ. You know, you've got Mr. World, who's amazing. You got the internet, or you got media, because people pray to TV. Oh, so good, so good. So it's like the old gods versus the new gods.
Now I'm making my way through that, so I have yet to get the full explanation as to who everyone is. But I assumed that the digital guy, or the internet guy, was the god was a more modern god, and they were gonna face off between these older gods who are just they're moving around sucking, they're in the drain a bit, they're in the gutter a little bit, these older gods,
Isn't the leprechaun the best?
He's terrifying. He will kill you in an instant.
Yeah.
Like that guy scares me. The crazy in his eye scares me legitimately. I'm like, he's really crazy.
Okay, I just need to know how far in are you? Have you watched a couple episodes?
Yeah, I think I'm probably 4 in.
Cool. Awesome.
You don't know nothing.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love the show, and I like I said last week, I finished watching Good Omens, which is another Neil Gaiman, and so, anyways, I'm back into American Gods. I'm also watching, like I said, Deadwood with my oldest, and so we actually have 14 different shows on the go depending on who's in the room. That's the way our household works. So, like, I watch American Gods by myself. Ash and I watch Deadwood. Anne and I are watching Sopranos, so lots of HBO here.
Wow, yeah,
we're on season 2, and Lex and I, we finished a show, so we are probably going to kick off The Boys on Amazon.
Okay,
season 2. We've already watched season 1, which we loved, and as a family right now, we're watching UFC Ultimate Fighter. Which is pretty great. It kind of feels like, honestly, watching UFC Ultimate Fighter season 1 makes me feel like we could jump in there with our Art of Eight Limbs knowledge and work for the UFC, job. No problem. Yeah,
I like it.
At least they're season 1. I don't know how they're doing these days. And then when my mom comes over to visit, we watch Survivor, old school Survivor, as a giant family. So that's
you guys do have a lot of shows.
We have lots on the go. We have to keep track of where we are. All the seasons, most of them are on DVD, or some are. So they sit by the television with the DVD that we happen to be watching right on top. That's how we roll.
That is awesome. I would also like to add to the section something that I have started, I've started an app called Duolingo. And I am going to learn French.
Cool.
I really suck.
I started learning Japanese on that app.
Oh, you did? Why Japanese? You just like watching the animes?
No, because what happened was when COVID first started,
you were like, the Japanese are going to take over.
No, it was like 5 months in.
Mm-hmm.
Japan started saying, when COVID's over, we are going to sink tons of money into our tourist industry, because our tourist industry is destroyed. Mm-hmm. So my eldest came to me and he was like, do you know that when COVID is over, Japan is going to pay for like half your flight and a third of your hotel stay while you come and visit Japan. So we should go. Let's learn Japanese together. So both Ash and I started with Duolingo, and we've been learning some Japanese.
And are you doing well? Like, are you learning it?
I felt like I was doing okay, and I think if I picked it back up, I would. But what we would do is every single day, the two of us would kind of be not competing, but we'd be like,
Yeah.
how do you say white? How do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And so we'd be
Okay.
chit-chatting with each other. And then at some point he just kind of stopped, as we do sometimes. So my Japanese is on hold, but I've learned some things. I've learned some numbers and some colors, and it wouldn't take me long to remember how to get to the bathroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where's the library?
Mhm.
I need to go to the discoteca.
I don't need to go to a discotheque, but a library. I mean, I don't think I would go to a library in Japan.
No.
I feel like that would be a waste.
All right, Jason
Of time.
Green.
Seeing as I can't really read.
Read the Japanese.
At
That's
all.
what your lingo's for. Come on now.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. And we'll be back next week. We're going to kind of have part 2 of this episode, hopefully. So we'll see you next Thursday. Dream big.
Work hard. Bye, guys.
Really hope you enjoyed the show. Wherever you watched or listened, please leave us a comment or a review. We really want to hear from you.
Share the show with a friend. You know they'll love us.
Head over to our website, thefableforest.com. There's all kinds of great stuff.
Poke around. Check it out.
See you all again in a couple weeks.